Today, history is being made in the state of Michigan. That's where President Biden is picketing alongside the United Auto Workers Union. Experts say no sitting president has ever joined a strike before this moment. President Biden has repeatedly touted himself as the most pro-union president ever in the United States. He told the union members earlier he's on their side.
Unions built the middle class. That's a fact. So let's keep going. You deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now.
And tomorrow, former President Trump is set to speak to striking auto workers. It all comes, of course, amid the backdrop of the 2024 general election, where both Trump and Biden, the current frontrunners, are angling to shore up support in a crucial swing state. NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is with us in Washington, D.C. But let's begin with Maggie Vespa. She's in Centerline, Michigan. Maggie, I know the president joined a strike at a plant near the one that you're at. What do we know about his visit, and what are union members saying?
Sure. So we know that he's basically halfway through his visit, guys. He's set to, in the next couple of hours, make a second stop at a second facility and join a second picket line, essentially. We don't know which facility that's going to be. Details have been really kept under wraps until the 0 hour. That was the case with the first one. So we expect him to pop up once again, speak essentially to a second group. We have no reason to believe it's going to be the one that we're in front of, but people here are fired up by what they heard from the president, as were workers who were there with him at that GM facility in nearby Belleville, Michigan. Again, you heard the president say in that soundbite, that was from his second of two speeches, you have earned, he said, a hell of a lot more than you're being paid right now. We should note the president didn't name any of the big three in any of his speeches. He didn't talk about any of the specific demands that the union has, like that 40% pay hike or the 4-day work week or things like that. It was just kind of in the spirit of what you heard in that soundbite, general support for picketing workers. We've been talking to workers here all day. Here's some of what we've heard here on the picket lines.
He said he'd walk the picket line, and he is. We've had other presidents in the past say if they're going on strike, they're going to put their tennis shoes on and walk the line with us, and they didn't. He definitely is doing his walking the walk and talking the talk.
And that being said, workers are also very aware of kind of the political infighting between President Biden, who's here right now, as you said, on the ground, headed to that second facility, and former President Trump, who is expected to come here tomorrow and give a primetime speech to UAW workers. Details of that still under wraps as well. They're aware of kind of the campaigns for both going back and forth with those two visits and the politics surrounding that, both sides vying for potential endorsement ahead of the 2024 election. But basically, the consensus that we're hearing on the picket lines is that workers are just happy to have any extra attention, any extra spotlight on these negotiations that are still stalled with the big three.
Yeah, the president being on the ground, certainly a spotlight. So, Kelly, let's bring you in here. How involved is the White House really in these contract negotiations between the big three car companies and the union?
Not directly involved, because they want the parties to resolve this. But you've heard the president's sentiments. The White House has backed that up, that it is very much in line with his longstanding political brand and with a lot of the policies that he supports and has worked to build legislation around, that if the middle class is doing well, that helps the entire country. So the White House is careful here to not say that they are taking a specific side, which is very delicate, considering the president is on the picket line and surrounding himself with workers. But what they try to say by communicating that is they're not trying to dictate any outcome. They also have relationships with the automakers. The president has, of course, been very supportive of electric vehicles and the investments taking place there. But he says record profits should be shared by the workers. So it is about the symbolism, it is about support. But in terms of the nitty-gritty of negotiations, the White House is not directly involved in that.
Yeah, and speaking of symbolism, Kelly, Biden won Michigan in 2020, but Trump carried it in 2016. President Biden's there today. Former President Trump's planning a rally in Michigan tomorrow. Can you talk about the politics of all this?
There is a huge backdrop of politics involved here, and certainly the president wants the UAW endorsement. That is something that I think there are supporters of his who believed he would have had by now, and of course being there today makes a difference. Now, when you talk about the importance of endorsements, historically, labor endorsements are very important for Democratic candidates like the president to turn out the vote. We've also seen how former President Trump has made inroads with individual members of unions and won support among some of the membership. So a difference between leadership and membership that'll be fought out.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.